Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're putting on our thinking caps and maybe some steel-toed boots.
Definitely the boots.
We're exploring the essentials of launching a construction services business, specifically as a limited company, right here in the UK. We've got a really thorough guide. It covers, well, pretty much everything from the first legal steps to staying compliant on site.
Yeah, and our goal, really, is to pull out the crucial bits you absolutely need to know.
Yeah?
Sort of cut through the noise and potential overwhelm?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Avoid getting bogged down. So where are we drawing this info from?
It's all based on a solid collection of official UK resources. Think Companies House, HMRC, that's the tax authority, the Health and Safety Executive, or HSE, CITB for training, and the planning portal, too.
Good stuff. Official sources.
It's like a fast track to understanding the main building blocks for your potential new venture.
So if you are sitting there thinking about stepping into the UK construction sector on your own, this deep dive is definitely for you. We're aiming to map out a clear path, hitting the key legal requirements, the regulations you'll face, and of course, the financial side of things.
Okay. Where should we start?
Let's kick things off right at the beginning. Company formation.
Makes sense. The absolute first step is making it official, right? You need to pick a company name.
And it has to be unique.
Unique, yes, and it must end with LTD. Companies House has specific rules on what's allowed, so definitely check those first.
Okay. Name sorted, then what?
Directors and shareholders. You need at least one director and at least one shareholder.
Can they be the same person?
Oh, absolutely. Especially for smaller startups, that's very common.
Right, and I saw this term, people with significant control, or PSCs. What's that about?
Ah, yes, PSCs. Basically, anyone who holds over 25% of the company's shares or voting rights, you need to identify who they are and register them. It's about transparency.
Okay, transparency. Makes sense.
Precisely. After that, you've got the company's kind of founding documents, the memorandum and the articles of association.
Right, the memorandum is like the why and the articles are the how.
That's a good way to put it. Memorandum outlines the purpose. Articles are the internal rules, shares, governance, how it all works.
And you need a UK address for this.
A registered office address, yes.
Yeah.
Has to be in the UK, can be your home, or you could use a service address if you prefer.
Okay, paperwork done. How do you actually register it?
The easiest way is usually online with Companies House. Costs about £50 last time I checked.
And it's quick.
Usually, yeah. Often get your certificate of incorporation within 24 hours. There's still a postal option, but it's, slower and costs a bit more.
Online seems the way to go then.
Generally, yes. And during that online process, you'll set up a couple of key things. Your SIC codes, Standard Industrial Classification codes.
What do they do?
They tell everyone what your business actually does, classifies your activities, and you'll also get a government gateway ID. You'll need that for pretty much all your online filings later on.
Okay, SIC codes, gateway ID. Got it.
Yeah.
Is that it for the initial setup?
Almost. Once you're incorporated, Companies House tells HMRC, and you'll get your UTR, unique taxpayer reference, in the post.
Ah, the UTR. Very important.
Crucial. And then here's a step people sometimes miss. You need to actively go onto gov.uk and add corporation tax to your business tax account. It doesn't just happen automatically with the UTR.
Good tip. What about paying people? Even myself.
Right. PAYE, pay as you earn. If you plan to employ anyone, including yourself as a director drawing a salary, you need to register for PAYE. You actually get an option to do this during the online company formation process.
Oh, that's handy. Combine the steps.
Yeah, streamlines things a bit. And just looking ahead, remember the ongoing stuff. Always need at least one director, one shareholder.
Annual filings.
Yep, annual accounts and a confirmation statement to Companies House every year. Plus, you need to maintain your company's statutory registers, director details, shareholdings, that sort of thing, and report any changes quickly.
So it's not just set and forget.
Definitely not. You're operating under company law, the Companies Act mainly. Gotta stay compliant.
Okay, company formed, add and enrolling. Let's talk tax. Corporation tax specifically.
Right. As we said, limited companies are automatically registered for corporation tax when they're formed.
And how much is it?
Well, the rates can change, but currently it's 19% on profits up to £50,000.
Okay.
Then it jumps to 25% for profits over £250,000.
Big jump. What about in between?
There's marginal relief. It's basically a tapering system so you don't suddenly get hit with the full 25% the moment you go over 50K. It smooths the transition.
Right, a sliding scale. So how do you figure out how much to pay?
You calculate it based on your annual accounts. The actual payment is due 9 months and 1 day after your company's accounting year ends.
9 months and a day. Okay.
But the tax return itself, the form, isn't due until 12 months after the year ends, so pay first, file slightly later.
A bit confusing, but okay. And the key is?
Records, records, records. Keep meticulous financial records. Meet those deadlines. HMRC penalties aren't fun.
Understood. Keep good books. Now let's shift gears to the industry itself. Construction-specific registrations. CIS seems like a big one.
It is the construction industry scheme. If your company pays subcontractors for construction work, you almost certainly need to register as a CIS contractor with HMRC.
Even if construction isn't our main gig.
Potentially, yes. There's a rule if you're spending over, I think it's £3 million a year on construction operations. Even if that's not your core business, you might still need to register as a contractor.
Okay, so assuming we are registered as a contractor, what do we do?
You have to verify your subcontractors with HMRC. Then you deduct tax from their payments. It's usually 20% if they're registered for CIS.
And if they're not?
Then it's a higher rate, 30%. You deduct that tax and you have to pay it over to HMRC every month, along with filing a monthly return detailing the payments.
Right. And what if I'm the one being paid? A subcontractor.
Then you need to register for CIS too, so the contractor deducts the right amount, usually that 20%, not 30%. It's really fundamental for cash flow and compliance in construction.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that's the money side. What about the actual building work? Planning permission.
Yes. Planning permission. Generally, you need it for new builds or for what they call major changes to existing buildings, big extensions, changing the use of a building, that kind of thing.
And the golden rule is?
Check first. Always, always talk to the local council's planning department before you start any work. Getting it wrong can mean enforcement notices, having to undo work. Big headaches.
Right. But not everything needs full planning, does it? What's this permitted development thing?
Yeah, some smaller works, maybe internal alterations, might fall under permitted development rights, meaning you don't need formal planning permission.
Yeah, I'd pay.
But local rules vary. Councils can have different interpretations or restrictions. So even for smaller stuff, the safe bet is always to double check with the local planning authority. Don't assume.
Okay, check first. Always. So planning is about if you can build. Building regulations are different, right? They're about how you build.
Exactly. Building regs are totally separate from planning, and they apply to almost all building work. New builds, extensions, even smaller things like installing new windows, electrical work, plumbing. It's about safety, energy efficiency, accessibility, the technical standards.
How do you get approval for that?
2 main ways. You can apply to the local council's building control department. They'll inspect the work at key stages. Or you can use a competent person scheme. If your contractor, say your electrician or window fitter, is registered with one of these government-approved schemes, they can self-certify that their work meets the regulations.
Okay. Like safe for gas engineers.
Similar principle, yes. But whatever route you take, the really crucial thing is getting a completion certificate at the end. That's your proof the work complies.
Right. Proof of compliance.
Yes.
Essential. Now, are there other maybe smaller licenses we need to think about? Scaffolding?
Good point. Yes, if you put up scaffolding or hoarding, barriers and they encroach onto the public highway, pavement, or road, you absolutely need a license from the local council.
How do you find that?
GOV UK has a Find a License tool. Put in the postcode, it should point you to the right council application. Same goes for things like needing to dig up the pavement or road, you'll need street works permits from the Highways Authority.
Okay. What about environmental stuff?
Can be relevant if you're doing demolition near a river, maybe, or excavating. You might need permits from the Environment Agency. Depends on the site and the work.
And health and safety. That feels like a massive topic in construction.
It is huge. You've got the main Health and Safety at Work Act, but specifically for construction, the big one is CDM 2015, the Construction Design and Management Regulations.
CDM 2015, what's the main idea there?
It's all about planning and managing health and safety risks right from the very start of a project, through design and planning, not just during the building phase.
Does it mean appointing special roles?
On bigger projects, yes. You might need to appoint a principal designer and a principal contractor who have specific duties under CDM. And for projects over a certain size expected to last more than 30 working days or use more than 500 person days, you have to formally notify the HSE. That's Form F10.
Okay. And day-to-day on-site?
Mandatory risk assessments. Proper safety plans, managing the actual work safely, it covers everything.
How do you prove workers are competent and trained for all this? CSCS cards keep coming up.
They do. CSCS cards, Construction Skills Certification Scheme. They're basically the industry standard way to show someone has the right training and qualifications for their job on site.
Is it a legal requirement?
Not strictly, no. But, and it's a big but, the CITB themselves say most principal contractors and major house builders require workers to have a valid CSCS card.
So, practically speaking, you need them.
Pretty much, yeah. If you want to get onto most larger sites, you and your team will need the right CSCS cards. Plus, there are other related schemes, like CISRS for scaffolding, CPCS for plant operators.
So, investing in training and cards is essential.
It really is. It includes basic health and safety awareness, too, like the CITB HSE test, which is often needed to even get a card. Think of them as your site passport.
Okay. Passports acquired. Now, I also saw mention of a CITB levy, another cost.
It can be, yes. If construction activities make up more than half your total payroll, or if you spend over £3 million a year on construction work, including payments to CIS subcontractors, you'll likely have to pay the CITB levy.
How's it calculated?
It's a percentage of your total wage bill payroll plus CIS payments. You need to register with CITB's employer service to sort it out.
Is there any upside?
Well, yes. By paying the levy, you can often access CITB grants to help fund training for your workforce. So it can be an investment back into your team's skills.
Right. Okay. So lots of hoops to jump through just to get started on site. What about protecting the business itself? Insurance.
Absolutely vital. Top of the list. Employer's liability insurance.
This one's legally required, right?
Yes. The moment you employ someone, even just one person, you legally must have it. Minimum £5 million cover. Has to be from an authorized insurer.
What does it cover?
It covers compensation claims if an employee gets injured or becomes ill because of the work they do for you. And the fines for not having it are steep, like £2,500 per day.
Ouch. Okay, must have. What about public liability?
Public liability isn't technically a legal requirement, but I'd say it's absolutely essential in construction. Highly recommended, doesn't feel strong enough.
Why is that?
It covers claims if your work injures a member of the public or damages their property. Think about working on someone's house or near pedestrians. Accidents happen. Plus, most clients or main contractors will demand you have it before they even let you start work. It's a contractual necessity, usually.
Okay, makes sense. Then there's professional indemnity, PI insurance.
PI is more specific. It's crucial if you offer any kind of design, advice, engineering, or architectural services. Basically, if a client suffers a financial loss because of a mistake or negligence in your professional service, PI covers that.
So if we're designing the project, not just building it.
Exactly, or giving specialist advice. Again, clients often require it in the contract if you're in that kind of role.
Are there other insurances we might need?
Yeah, definitely others to consider depending on what you do. Insurance for your plant and equipment, obviously. Contractors' all-risk cover, which protects the work itself while it's ongoing. Motor fleet insurance if you have vans or trucks. Maybe directors and officers insurance.
So quite a few possibilities.
It really depends on your specific business. Best advice, talk to an insurance broker who knows the construction sector, or check with your trade association. They can guide you on what's appropriate.
Good advice. Okay, incorporated, regulated, insured. Let's revisit the ongoing financial admin, VAT.
Right. Value-added tax. Registration is mandatory if your taxable turnover goes over the threshold. Currently, that's £90,000 a year.
And once you're registered.
You have to charge VAT usually 20% on your sales invoices. You collect it, and then you pay it over to HMRC, usually every quarter when you file your VAT return.
Can you register if you're below the threshold?
Yes, voluntary registration is an option. The main reason to do it would be to reclaim the VAT you pay on your own business purchases and expenses. Might be worthwhile, might not. Depends on your costs and clients.
And record keeping is key here, too.
Oh, absolutely. VAT records have very specific requirements. Get it wrong, and HMRC can come knocking.
Okay. We touched on corporation tax deadlines earlier. Any more detail there?
Just to recap, file annual accounts with Companies House within 9 months of your year end. File the company tax return, the CT 600, with HMRC within 12 months. Pay the tax bill 9 months and 1 day after the year end.
Got it.
And remember, for larger companies, you might have to pay in installments throughout the year. Crucially, make sure you claim all legitimate business expenses against your profits. Materials, tools, wages, subcontractor costs, training. It all helps reduce that tax bill.
Right. And pay for employees. More detail.
Yes, if you're an employer, you register with HMRC. Set up payroll either using HMRC's basic tools or proper software. You deduct income tax and employee national insurance from their pay. You also pay employers' national insurance on top.
And report it when?
You report the pay and deductions to HMRC on or before each payday. It's called real-time information, RTI. And don't forget pensions. Auto-enrollment means you'll likely have to contribute to a workplace pension for eligible staff.
Lots to manage there. And back to CIS quickly, the deductions.
Yes. As the contractor, you file that monthly return to HMRC showing who you paid and how much tax you deducted. And you pay that deducted tax over to HMRC.
What happens to the tax deducted from the subcontractor?
The subcontractor can then claim those deductions back as essentially payments towards their own tax bill when they file their tax return. So keeping those payment statements and deduction receipts is vital for both sides. HMRC can ask to see them.
Right, paperwork trail is key. Any other taxes lurking?
Well, business rates if you have separate premises, not just working from home. We mentioned employers' national insurance. And directors often take dividends. If you do, you'll need to declare that on your personal self-assessment tax return.
Okay, comprehensive on the tax front. Let's quickly revisit the local level stuff. We mentioned planning and building control, but any more on permits?
Yeah, just to reemphasize, scaffolding or hoarding on public land, need that council license. Use the gov.uk tool. Digging up roads or pavements, need streetworks permits from the Highways Department, need to close a road for a big delivery or suspend parking bays. Separate permits, again, usually from the council.
Environmental permits locally?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Discharging water, processing waste on site might need permits from the Environment Agency or the local council's environmental health team, and, critically, asbestos. Working on older buildings, you absolutely must follow the strict rules for identifying, notifying, and safely removing it if it's present. That's a huge local and national H&S issue.
And specific service licenses?
Yes, if you or your subs are doing regulated work, gas fitting needs gas safe registration. Certain electrical work needs registration with bodies like NICEC or NAPIT. Lifts might need specialist certification. You need to ensure whoever does that work holds the right ticket.
Got it. So drilling down again into those industry specifics, CSCS cards, we know they're practically essential.
Exactly. While maybe not law in black and white, the reality on the ground is most sites demand them. CSCS for general operatives, skilled workers, managers, plus the specialist ones like CISRS for scaffolders, CPCS for plant operators. It's about proving competence. And usually requires passing that CITB health, safety, and environment test too.
In building regulations, it's not just about getting the initial approval, is it?
No, absolutely not. The work itself has to meet the standard structure, fire safety, insulation, ventilation, all of it. Even if you used a competent person scheme for, say, the electrics, the rest of the build still has to comply. Using qualified trades and getting inspections is the way to ensure quality and avoid problems down the line. Cutting corners on regs is just asking for trouble.
Fire safety on site seems important too.
Definitely. The fire safety order applies. You need fire risk assessments, especially for site offices or welfare facilities. Need the right fire extinguishers, clear escape routes. Basic, but vital.
And just general employment law.
Yes, goes without saying, really. Proper contracts, paying minimum wage, holiday pay, sick pay entitlements, adhering to equality laws, making sure statutory notices are displayed or accessible. Standard employer responsibilities.
Finally, back to the HSE. Their guidance is key.
Incredibly important. HSE produces loads of guidance specifically for construction. Managing falls from height, excavation safety, safe use of plant, asbestos awareness. Familiarize yourself with it. And remember, RIDDOR, the reporting of injuries, diseases, and dangerous occurrences regulations. Serious incidents must be reported.
Okay, that has been an incredibly detailed journey through setting up a construction services limited company here in the UK.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is. We've gone from company formation, all the tax stuff, right through to the nitty-gritty of site regulations, permits, insurance. It's complex.
It is complex, but understanding these basics, these fundamentals, that's the essential first step, isn't it, for building a business that's, well, built to last.
Absolutely. So this deep dive gives you a really strong foundation. But we have to stress, always check the official sources we mentioned.
Definitely. gov.uk, HMRC, HSE, CITB, the planning portal. Things change. Specific circumstances vary. Go to the source for the latest, most accurate info for your situation.
And maybe check out the detailed startup checklist and the full guide we drew from. That could be a good, practical next step.
Good idea.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. This industry is all about building solid, tangible things, right? Building structures. But that initial framework for your business,
Yeah.
the legal side, the rules, the finances, that invisible scaffolding, it's just as vital for making sure your company stands strong in the long run.
Nicely put. The foundations need to be right.
Exactly. So the question is, what proactive steps will you take, maybe even today, to make sure the business foundation is absolutely rock solid? Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.